Let's be real. If you told me a year ago I'd be fighting a woman named Karen over my own house, watching the porch burn at 2 a.m. while my son asked if we were still allowed to live there, I'd have laughed in your face. But, hey, welcome to Colorado, where the neighbor with the best pies sometimes brings matches instead of sugar. I remember that first morning. New house, new state, cool mountain air sharp enough to make you believe anything's possible. 18 years I spent laying out roads and pipes for other people's homes, drawing the veins and arteries of cities I'd never actually live in. Then, suddenly, there I was, standing on the porch of our own place outside Fort Collins, the kind of stone cottage that creaks when the wind blows, with an honest-to-God weather vane spinning on top and trees old enough to remember Carter's gas crisis. Jill called it our little rebellion. Tommy, who was 7, called it the big tree house. I just called it peace. We moved in on a Thursday, boxes everywhere, Jill doing her mug-arranging ritual like we were about to get inspected, Tommy running wild and muddy, squirrels terrified for their lives. First neighbor stopped by with honey and homemade soap. Second, a younger guy who offered to help, but mostly just leaned on the fence and chatted about hunting seasons. And then there was her. She pulled up in a Lexus, sunglasses too big for her face, hair silver and perfect, like she'd gotten ready for a photo shoot, not a neighbor's porch. "I brought something sweet," she trilled, waving a still warm pie. "Karen Dorsley, just over there." "Well, for now. Long story." Jill, always gracious, introduced us. Tommy waved, apple slice halfway to his ear. Karen bent down. "Aren't you a little explorer? You'll love those woods. I practically grew up back there." Her words stuck with me. Practically. She kept dropping hints, flinging compliments like birdseed. Then she looked right at me and Jill and said, "Thank you for the house. Really, you don't know how long I've waited for this." I blinked. Jill just started unwrapping the pie. That night, I replayed it over and over, her words, that weird smile. Next morning, it rained. I found a crisp envelope in the mailbox. No stamp, no return. Inside was a typed letter. "You are currently residing in a property that is undergoing a process of return. You are required to vacate within 14 days to avoid further action. Signed, KD." I laughed out loud in the rain. Neighbor hazing, I thought. Karen was probably already laughing. But then came a certified letter from a Loveland law office. This time, a scanned agreement, 10 years old, scrawled between Karen and the house's last owner, Samuel Hargrave. Something about partial repayment, title upon full payment, no notary, no legal record, just chicken scratch signatures. Looked like it belonged on a bar napkin, not in a courtroom. My attorney, Rick, voice like gravel, said, "This is garbage." But the fact she's got a lawyer means she's either bluffing hard or she's really that crazy. He sent a cease and desist, filed our deed, the works. Then Karen escalated. A court order taped to our door. No changing locks, no moving objects, can't deny Karen access. She filed a restraining order on us for our own home. "She's playing squatter," Rick muttered. The hearing was set for Thursday. Jill barely slept. I had nightmares about Karen and a moving crew emptying our house while we watched. Court day felt like walking into a bad TV show. Karen, straight-backed and smug. Her attorney slick and overconfident. Rick laid out the facts. No lien, no easement, no record. Her note was junk, not even notarized. Karen's lawyer spun some tale about a personal understanding and missed opportunity. The judge cut her off. "This isn't Judge Judy. Legal rights aren't built on promises whispered in kitchens." Petition denied. But Karen exploded. "This is theft. He stole my house." The bailiff had to escort her out. Rick leaned over. "We haven't seen the last of her." He was right. That weekend, we came home to a plastic's old sign staked in the yard. Property reclaimed. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Our porch light was off. Timer disabled. The front door had a brand new lock with a keypad we'd never installed. I ran for the truck. "She changed the goddamn locks," I said. Called Rick. Called the sheriff. Two deputies walked the property, found lockpicks, watched our driveway camera. Footage showed Karen and two guys, faces half covered, breaking in, tossing our stuff on the porch, flipping off the camera. "She's squatting," I told the deputies. They agreed, especially after seeing the lockpicks. Karen answered the door in a lavender sweater, cleaning supplies in hand. "I'm reclaiming my home," she said, calm as ever. Jill snapped. "You threw out our things." Karen didn't blink. "Some things are water damaged. You should have stored them better." Deputies told her to leave. She acted wounded, like we'd canceled Christmas. The house felt wrong after that. Stuff missing, closets rearranged, Jill's jewelry gone through. Tommy's closet measured. That night, we stayed at a hotel. Jill refused to return until every lock was changed and security doubled. I spent the night replaying video, recognizing the second man as the same guy from Karen's porch that first day. But here's where things really twisted. Jill, combing through paperwork, found in the probate files that Hargrave, the old owner, had been declared legally incapacitated a year before Karen's agreement was signed. Any transaction after that required court approval. Karen's deal was dated smack in the middle of his guardianship. Rick brought in a forensic document examiner. She didn't need long. The signature was traced, hesitation marks everywhere. It was a fake. We filed criminal complaints for unlawful entry, theft, and fraud. The detective took it seriously now. "She never lived here." "Never," I said. "She invaded it." Suddenly, Karen stopped pretending it was a misunderstanding. Code enforcement showed up over illegal structures. A surveyor flagged our shed as non-compliant. Rick sent permits older than the internet. Someone even complained to the school district about Tommy's residency and accused us of illegal rentals. All of it traced back to Karen. Then came the kicker. Detective called. One of the men in the video was Jason Dorsley, Karen's son, with priors for burglary and auto theft. Now, the DA was involved, not just for us but for the pattern. Forged documents, forced entry, intimidation, a whole playbook. Rick said, "She thinks if she moves fast, acts confident, and scares you, you'll back down." Most people do, but not us. Weeks later, 2 a.m., my phone buzzed. Security alert, motion detected. I opened the camera, expecting a raccoon. Instead, there's a figure in a hoodie, red gas, can in hand. He pours a line of liquid across the porch and flower bed. Right under the window Jill had just decorated with her cheap ceramic pumpkins. He strikes a match. In one flash, the porch is a bonfire, pumpkins popping like grenades, everything bathed in orange and terror. I called 911. Jill grabbed Tommy, clutching his smoke-scorched stuffed bear. The porch was gone, the garage windows blown, Jill's bike a melted wreck. Tommy, eyes wide, asked, "Are we still allowed to live there?" I nodded, but honestly, I wasn't sure. Fire marshal took the footage. 2 days later, Jason was arrested, caught filling a red gas can at a gas station just before the fire, license plate on camera, even the matchbook traced back to Karen. Her lawyer claimed she knew nothing, but Rick laughed and filed for criminal conspiracy, fraud, and property seizure. Court wasn't dramatic. It was slow, brutal, fluorescent lit. Karen and Jason side by side, both looking worn out. Prosecutors played the security footage, then brought in the handwriting expert and the elder care worker who confirmed Hargrave couldn't have signed anything when Karen claimed. Email showed Karen herself had scanned the fake agreement months before we moved in. She named it Sam Agreement Final Confidential. Jill testified about the break-in, the fire, the feeling of being erased. I told the court how it felt to explain to Tommy that someone tried to burn down his home. Jason's defense tried to pin him as Karen's pawn. He didn't know what he was doing. But texts between them were clear. If we burn it, they'll run. Just scare them enough to step aside. The verdict: Jason, guilty, 8 years for arson and endangerment. Karen, guilty, 12 years for fraud, forgery, and conspiracy. The judge's words stuck. This is a case of entitlement weaponized through fraud. It ends today. We got $320,000 restitution. Rick joked about building a moat, but I just wanted to go home. Home didn't feel safe for a while. Trauma lingers. It doesn't just leave when the threat is gone. But slowly it got easier. We rebuilt. Rick's friend redid the porch, stronger, with a new swing. Jill cried when she saw it. Tommy, ever the optimist, planted a sapling in the backyard. Named it Sam, for the man who'd built the house before us. He didn't understand the weight, but it hit me deep. One June afternoon, a U-Haul rolled in next door. I braced for another Karen, but it was Jerome and Maureen Carter, older couple, warm eyes, cornbread muffins in hand. We heard the last neighbor was intense, Maureen said with a smile. Figured we'd start things off the opposite way. We laughed, sat on the new swing, watched the sun go down. Jerome said, "I'm glad you stayed. A lot of folks run when things get ugly. But this house, it needed people who'd fight for it." Now, if you want to know what I learned, it's this. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's just surviving, standing your ground, and choosing not to be erased. And sometimes the people who fight for a place end up loving it more because of the scars. That's what makes a home. So tell me, where's the line between standing up for what's yours and going too far? When does self-defense become obsession? And when is fighting back the only way to stay whole? Drop your thoughts below. What would you have done? Ever stared down a neighbor like that? Ever seen karma come full circle? I want to hear your wildest stories about justice, revenge, or the neighbor from hell. Let's see where the line really is.